What's up guys, my name is Ace, and we finally got some eagerly awaited console information for Delta Force. This is something I've been waiting for quite some time now because I quite enjoyed Delta Force. I think it's a really fun game to play. I have uploaded a video or two in the past talking about this, and I have live streamed it a couple times as well, and I think it's a lot of fun. However, a huge portion of my audience are console players. And as a result, I had a lot of people saying, wow, this looks really cool, but too bad I don't play on PC. I wonder when it's coming to console. And quite a while back, they did mention the console release was intended for Q1 of 2025, which we've already missed the boat on that, so it was obviously delayed. However, yesterday, they had a big live stream discussing the next season, and in this, they also gave us our console release date, which is August 19th. So this is going to be launching on PS5, Series X, and Series S. And they also mentioned there will be a closed beta sometime in July, and there will be some details on how you can sign up for that. I'm definitely going to be signing up. Hopefully I can get into that. But with this, they did confirm on console it will also be free to play, just like it is on PC. And I'm quite excited for this. I think a lot of console players are going to be very happy to see this, because it is quite a fun game. I've been really enjoying myself with Delta Force. Even though I haven't been playing it a ton, I have been dabbling with it here or there, and I do find it to be a very enjoyable experience. For those unfamiliar, it is largely like a Battlefield clone, at least the main mode that I play, which is Warfare. It does feel a lot like Battlefield, but they do it very well. In fact, I actually prefer this game over Battlefield 2042. And then on top of that, I know a ton of people are really invested in their extraction mode, which is called Operations, but it is a huge appeal to this game as well. And I'm really glad to see that they just keep pushing forward with this and making more improvements and adding more content. It seems like they're handling this game very well overall so far. So I'm happy it's going to be reaching a significantly larger audience with console support. As for that release date of August 19th, while it's definitely not ideal and I wish it would come sooner rather than later, I think that at least gives us a little bit of a window before the launch of big games like Call of Duty, which is obviously going to be a huge competitor, especially on the console side of things, because Call of Duty is extremely popular on consoles. So it's good to see that there will be at least a little bit of a window between August 19th and when the typical Call of Duty would release, which is usually end of October, early November. But again, ideally, a little bit sooner would have been nice. However, at the same time, I'm always open to delays for games if it means that things are going to end up being polished. I would much rather have them delay things rather than them pushing that console release in Q1 like they initially intended, and then it turned out to be just awful because it wasn't ready yet, and then nobody ever goes back to it. So hopefully it's going to be in a nice polished state. They did mention this is their first time ever doing a console release, so that has me a little bit concerned, but time will tell on how that works. And with the release of console, this brings up a huge question, and that is crossplay. How are they going to be handling crossplay with this? At the moment, I've been searching around trying to find any official information on crossplay, and I haven't really been able to find anything at this point, at least nothing official. I've seen a lot of articles that are making claims, but no sources provided. Perhaps there's something I've missed that is official, but I haven't seen anything yet. I would assume there will be crossplay for this game. My biggest hope, though, is that we just have control over that setting, regardless of the platform that we're on. I think everybody should have the option to turn crossplay on or off, and also cross-input play. That's obviously going to be a big concern anytime we're talking about something like this. And that topic really just hinges on the strength of aim assist, but either way you go, if aim assist is a little bit too weak, kind of like it is right now with the current support of controllers that they have, which is not in a completed state, by the way. The controller support right now is very limited, and it's currently only available in the Warfare modes. It's not available in Operations at all, but it is possible to use controllers at the moment. And at the moment, from what I've seen, the aim assist is actually very weak. And as a result, even as somebody that generally prefers playing on controllers for FPS games, I'm still much more comfortable with mouse and keyboard in Delta Force with the current controller support. So we'll see if that changes once the console release comes. And if it does, and if they crank up aim assist, for instance, then there's the concern that controllers will have a huge advantage over mouse and keyboard, especially if there's no option to opt out of that and just play with your own inputs. So time will tell on this. This is an area where a lot of games have been struggling in recent years to find that proper balance between cross-play and cross-input play and providing options without breaking up the player base too much. So we'll just have to wait to see how they end up handling that. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the console topic. Now let's talk a bit more about the upcoming season. I don't want to get into too many details since this isn't really like a game that I main or anything, but I do enjoy it on the side from time to time. And in the background, I've actually been playing a lot of the clips that they were showing off for the upcoming season, which is coming on July 8th or 9th, depending on time zone. And with this, for Operations, which is their extraction mode, there's a new map called Tide Prison, a collection room, a special mission, and they're adding swimming and diving as well to the game. And that also applies to Warfare, which is their more like Battlefield clone style mode. And in Warfare, which is what I tend to play, I'm not really huge into the Operations mode. For Warfare, we're going to be getting a new map called Cyclone, and this one looks beautiful. We can see there's a lot of water combat added to this, which goes along nicely with the addition of the jet ski, as well as obviously swimming and diving. They're also adding dynamic weather with this, which I think is pretty neat. And they're also adding a brand new operator called Tempest, which is in the Assault class. And with her abilities, her trait is the combat roll, which is a very, very fast roll, by the way. It's almost like a massive dash that you see here. That's going to be really hard to track in third person, I'm guessing. For her gadget, this is the drill charge, kind of reminiscent of the drill charge in Modern Warfare 2, but this one doesn't explode. This one shocks enemy players, including enemy players on the opposite side of a wall. And then the really interesting thing that she's got is her tactical gear, which is the emergency evasion device. And with this, what you do is you sort of set your anchor point in advance before pushing into a situation. And then what you have the option to do here is activate that, and it will pull you all the way back to that initial anchor point. And this actually kind of reminds me of the glitch ability back in Black Ops 3, even though that wasn't as grounded in reality, like you would literally teleport backwards. This has like a similar vibe to it where you can just like rewind yourself, not really back in time, but just back in position. So that looks like a pretty fun operator. I definitely want to check this out and play with that a little bit. Next, they also talked about a few things that are currently in production. They're not coming with this season, but they just wanted to point out that they're working on them. First thing is jets, which I'm sure a lot of Battlefield fans will be excited to see. Another thing is they mentioned they're working on an Egypt theme map, and they just gave us a little teaser image here so we can see a little bit of what we can expect with that. And then finally, they showed off some of the new destruction that they're working on behind the scenes as well. So they are planning on improving in that particular area. And that's pretty much it for the main points that I wanted to discuss in today's video. Overall, it looks like they're really pushing forward with Delta Force. Lots of really nice updates in here. I didn't even cover all of the details, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far here. And I'm most excited for this to be finally making it to consoles, since console players really need as many FPS games as we can get. Sure, we've got a good handful of them out there, but not nearly as much as PC players have access to. And I think this will just be a great option for many players. I think many console players are going to end up loving this game, assuming everything goes well with the console integration and it all runs smoothly. But with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. First off, how are you guys feeling about the fact that we finally have a console release date at August 19th? If you are on console, do you plan on checking this game out, or maybe not so much? And also, just in general, what are your thoughts on the current state of Delta Force? Are you guys generally happy with this game, for those of you guys that have been playing it? Or maybe not so much? Are there some problems that I'm just unaware of as a more casual dabbler with the game? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.